You are listening to Strange Visitors, and today is Monday, July 30th, 2012, and I'm Mr.E. Oh, and there I go with my echo, doing my usual fail. Let me mute the show there so that you don't hear it coming back in your face while I say it out of mine. There we go. Okay, cool, we're done. Tonight we have Blake Cousins coming on the show tonight, and it should be nothing less than absolute fun. You know him from his YouTube channel, Third Phase of Moon, and we've shown lots of his videos here on the show. And I think that I'm hoping, I didn't do a pre-interview with Blake, but I have the sneaking suspicion that him and I have the same tastes in UFO videos, like I rant about all the time. I know that his videos are always fun to watch, and that's why I play him here. I don't know who else is going to join us tonight. Might have Psycho Dave in here, might have August coming in. Hopefully Erica will call in. I've got a switchboard full of people. Now, I just asked over in the tiny chat room, because Blake's in there, if he was holding on Skype, because I have one Skype caller holding, and I picked it up, and it's not Blake at all. It is actually a guy named Joe, who we'll bring on here in a minute. He's the guy that shot the police video, and I guess Blake knows who this is, but we'll get Blake in here in a minute. Man, I am so excited for this show. We talk about a lot of things here on the E Show, and we've dabbled in the paranormal for all 4 seasons, but you all know how much of a personal fan of UFOs, extraterrestrials, the whole science end of paranormal, and I just, this is a personal favorite for me. I'm truly excited for this. So we'll get Blake in here in a minute. My gosh, the phone lines are packed. So we will take you guys in the order that you call. Bear with us, and we'll get you in here as soon as possible. This is going to be fun. I'm so excited. I'm a giddy Mr.E tonight. So Blake, let's see now. August is already holding in the queue, so the Skype button must be already active on the BTR page. So if you're not seeing the Skype button, go ahead and refresh the BTR page. And and Erica's saying that she's in here too. Of course, we know Erica is an abductee and contactee, and that should be good too. And I'm just getting excited. So let's go ahead and play a tune. We'll let the chat rooms finish populating, and we'll get right into it with Blake Cousins here on Mr.E Strange Visitors. What's up, August? How you doing tonight, buddy?
Having a good time. How are you?
I'm doing good. That's good.
Outstanding.
You have a good weekend?
I did.
Yeah? You look like a face in the dark on webcam.
Do I?
Yeah.
Like a floating head?
You look like you're going to start singing Galileo, Galileo from that, we're dating ourselves here, from the Queen video. Whatever Rhapsody.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
The Bohemian Rhapsody, right.
Oh, man. I'm going to turn the lights back on. Quick.
No, looks great. Hey, Erica, how you doing?
Hi.
Hi.
Good to be here.
Yeah, you ready for a night of UFOs and aliens?
Floating head. Me and August are like floating heads when we're on the video now.
Oh, are you on cam too?
No, I'm not.
Oh. But in your mind, you're a floating head.
Yeah.
Right?
You go, oh.
Right on. Oh, man. What an exciting show. I can't wait to get it. Let's bring Blake in right now and check in with him. Hey, Blake, how's it going, buddy?
Standing by.
Yeah, here you are. Now, for Blake was having a problem with the Skype button on his end out of Hawaii, and so he used his landline to call in, and I recognize the area code. So, but you sound good. I think this will work just fine, as long as you don't get cauliflower ear. Yeah, floating head. You look like you're gonna start... Uh-oh, we're hearing an echo come through.
Yeah, well, let me just turn it down on my end.
Be like the old Art Bell days. Turn your radio down, sir.
There we go. We're all good. We're just getting a delay with your video via the phone. Now I know which one's coming in faster. The phone.
Yeah, right. You'll notice that when you're on the phone with us, in the webcam room, that the audio does sync up with our lips. Now, if you weren't on the air or on the phone with us, there's like a 6-second delay or whatever. I don't know why. I don't have a dump button, so there's no reason for a delay here, but we get one anyways. So what did you do all day today, Blake?
Well, what we do here at Third Phase of the Moon, probably, 10 to 12 hours a day, talk to people from around the world in regards to, UFO sightings that they captured, looking at UFO footage that people have sent to us, deciding what video we're going to put out on Third Phase of the Moon. Today we put up a video that just came to us from New York, a Mr. Irvin Vasquez, a guy that works at a liquor store. His boss is a Chinese man, said, hey, did you see the lights out in the sky? He managed to capture some amazing footage, and we just posted it on Third Phase of the Moon about, 45 minutes ago with the live Skype interview, eyewitness testimony, things like that.
Very cool. All right, let's take a look here. Let's see. Pause this here. And that would be the breaking news, UFOs over New York, July 30th, 2012. Watch now. What video, right?
That's the one.
All right, let's see if we can bring it in here for the fans to see.
Amazing is, just the
Go
past
ahead.
3 weeks, we've been getting video from Los Angeles, the UK, New York, Germany, and they all have the same characteristics of the same kind of light formations in the sky. And it's quite amazing that it's happened like in the past 3 weeks, all of a sudden mass sightings all over the world. It's been a mass pickup over here.
And it's not just for you. I'd say in the last 2 years, the sightings have consistently nearly doubled almost every month. We used to do sightings here and be able to do what we called UFO news, and it got so overwhelming. The sightings just kept increasing and increasing and increasing.
Mm-hmm.
So you're experiencing it now. So I wonder how many you're getting a day.
Well, we get on an average, probably about 12, sometimes 20 a day. A lot of them are.
Oh, my.
It's quite amazing. It's just we got to weed through a lot of them that, unfortunately, they see it with their own eyes and they're seeing something. But to capture a UFO against the dark of night and just seeing a white dot in the sky, we're just going to have to pass on a lot of those videos. What we're wanting to see is foreground. Like you say, Mr. You love daytime footage, and so do we, and that's what we...
Yes. I like the nighttime ones as long as there's exotic maneuvers.
No, exotic maneuvers and some foreground that you could take a look at.
Sure.
Something you could compare it to.
Mm-hmm.
Recently, we just had from Mitchell Lubin from Los Angeles. Him and his buds were out on the balcony and caught one of the most amazing videos that we put on our Third Phase of the Moon channel of a police helicopter surveillancing a UFO in the sky. Did you manage to take a look at that one?
Oh, I'm not sure. I've got your latest one booted up here, the one you were just talking about.
But the New York one's good. Certainly.
Yeah.
Well, they're just coming in at fantastic rates. But this one of the massive L.A. sighting with a police helicopter actually circling the object was absolutely amazing. At one point, it seemed like they merged together. The police officer got so close to the object, the helicopter, it was scared what it saw and instantly took off. It was just a great capture. And it's amazing.
When did you upload that one?
The link was the link up there. If you just take a look at a massive UFO sighting over LA and YouTube, it should come up on the top.
Okay. Oh, that's right. We played that one that looks like a bun cake last week. That drone-looking one. That's cool.
That was one of those absolutely daytime sightings that are just basically could be the smoking gun evidence of what is out there.
For sure.
At Third Phase of the Moon, we try and hold judgment of exactly what we're thinking it could be.
Right.
Let the public decide. That's what we do at Third Phase of the Moon.
And they will. any skeptical eye will pick any video apart, and you'll get the most critical thinking that's done out there.
Yeah, that one was particularly interesting because that was a color, and the colors are so vibrant on it, whereas you usually see, shimmering lights or something that's a little bit metallic. In that video, it almost looked like it was brown or maybe bronze, something that was a little bit unusual. I'd like to hear.
Well, in August, when we played that video, you brought up a very good point that I want to get into a little bit later. Let's not get into it right now, but a little bit later, I definitely want to take the time to talk about drone technology and how that's probably going to increase as time goes on. And of course, in ufology, and it's particularly in the paranormal, we're always asking the question, ours or theirs. And of course, us fans of the concept of extraterrestrial visitation, we're looking for the smoking gun, as Blake said, of ET contact here. The aliens versus the latest greatest government drone technology.
I'd like to know.
Go ahead, Blake.
With what you're saying, and if you want to save it for later, the drone and military, CIA, and what they're working on is far more fantastic than what we could even dream of. I'm sure they're 20 or 30 years in advance that what they're even giving them. And it's a possibility that some of the videos we get are definitely drones.
Well, here's my theory on that whole thing is, and I haven't really got into this before, is that I think that we are going to see that come and go. And the reason why, and the operative word there is see, because I think that we may see them for a while, and then I think we're going to stop seeing them because they're going to keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and they frankly won't be able to be viewed by the just someone looking up in the sky. You won't see a flying disc or something, a swarm of mini drones or something like that. You'll start seeing you're seeing it blend into nature. Something that looks like a dragonfly. You see it come flying by, and it would just look to you like a dragonfly or a bird on a wire, or some of these other things, or maybe even to the nano level. I mean, I think that we'll probably see. I'm just pulling this number out of thin air, but we'll probably see 5 to 20 years of what's obvious technology flying around the skies, and then it'll just kind of go away because
there's a theory that the United States and certain other countries, their technology is way more advanced than a lot of other countries out there. Maybe some of the things that we're seeing are possibly just outdated drones that were coming from other countries, and the things that the U.S. and the other countries are working on are more of invisibility, working on cloaking, and more plasma devices that are going to shield aircraft from visual view, like you're saying, not so much as actually nano flies flying around to survey people and fly in people's homes, or even military bad guys, or bad guys. Go after the bad guys is all fine.
Sure, counterintelligence by the bad guys themselves. You figure that as the technology becomes more prevalent, that it's going to become more inexpensive, and the good guys and bad guys will both have drones. I could totally imagine there. I could imagine there being a bad dragonfly drone out there keeping an eye on the cops.
Natural progression.
Yep, it is a natural progression. Let's take a look at your breaking news over New York video here, and it looks like it's about 3 minutes here, and we'll talk about it here in a second. This is Third Phase of Moon's latest video.
It's only being heard through Tiny Chat.
Yeah, I don't think it's coming on the radio.
Yeah, right. I got you. I think I just fixed it though. Let me know here. Hold on a second. There. It should be. You shouldn't be hearing any audio right now. Let me pause it. Oh yeah, it was my. God, I hate it when I do this. Sometimes when I start the show, the audio that's my voice is being picked up on is my webcam mic because I haven't switched it. But let me see here. I just noticed that it was in fact picking up off of the. Okay, it should. I should sound much clearer now. It looks like it's picking up off of my my headset. So here, let me start it over. We'll try this again. Here we go.
Here we go.
Welcome back to Third Phase. My name is Blake Cousins, and just yesterday I received a Skype from Irvin Vasquez, all the way from New York, who managed to capture amazing footage of light over the New York City skyscrapers. Thanks for joining us here at Third Phase of Moon, Irvin.
Hey, thank you, man. How are you?
Tell me exactly what you were doing, what time was it, and what did you think when you saw these lights in the sky?
Well, it was on Friday night. It was around 11:21. I was at work, so I was taking care of one of my customers. And he told me, hey, you saw the 5 lights on the sky? I said, no. So I ran out and I saw the 5 lights. So when I grabbed my cell phone, there was only 3. So two of them faded away. They're very fast. So I grabbed my cell phone and I started keeping it up, recording it. So, but unfortunately, I only caught 3 of them, and it was 53 seconds, and they disappeared behind a cloud. So everybody was in the street and talking, and some guys were screaming, and taking pictures. Many people got scared, even though cars stop by, people get up from the car and start taking pictures. Because it seems pretty weird, man. I got nervous. I got chilled, But as soon as I saw it, I thought, that's a UFO.
Wow, fantastic. There's been sightings all the way from the UK, Richard Stringer, and Los Angeles, Mitchell Lubin. Footage coming in from all around the world, and you captured something very similar in regards to these unidentified flying objects. Hey, thanks a lot for joining us here at Third Phase of Moon, Irvin.
Thank you, man. Well, yesterday I was trying to post my video on YouTube, so I was searching, and I typed any UFO sighting this week, and it came out from the video from UK and Los Angeles. So I was surprised when I saw the 5 lights, the same thing I saw. So man, I said I'm gonna put this in YouTube too.
Well, yeah, if anybody out there like Irvin has captured anything amazing or was there that night in New York, send your footage to us via Skype, Third Phase of Moon. My name's Blake Cousins, and we'll see you again next time.
Ah, coño, si son...
Fascinating stuff. That's pretty cool. That's cool that you make those videos, Blake. I like the way you did the split screen on the interview and all that. You have, well, let me see here. 23 million video views on your YouTube page. That's working out pretty good for you, huh?
Well, just started, 4 years ago, we put out our first UFO video, and all of a sudden, people from around the world started saying, I saw the same thing. Wow, that happened to me. I wish I had a video camera. And then things started to happen, and we started to ask the public if they captured anything. We try and what sets us apart on Third Phase of the Moon is we're trying to get exclusive video from people around the world, and not just have people just put it on YouTube and somebody just comes along and says, oh, wow, that's an amazing video, and strap it on their YouTube channel and get mass hits with no credit to the guy that shot it. We just, that's not a fair way to practice. We've been in journalism for over 20 years, and, story and exclusive is something important to us at Third Phase of Moon, and that's what we want to do, is protect people's, footage as well as get it out to the public. And if anybody wants to come across the video, they know exactly where it came from.
Oh, that's cool. Definitely. What got you into the UFO? Have you had a personal experience?
My brother and I, we've had multiple experiences growing up. Just a year and a half ago on our 40th birthday, we had one of the most amazing experiences right here in Hawaii. And it's on YouTube. It's all there. It was a friend of ours called us down, said he had lights coming over his place for the past 3 nights. We got to come down and bring our video equipment and take a look at it. And 2 hours after 6 o'clock when we showed up, shit started to hit the fan, actually, and it was quite amazing. It was one of the most amazing experiences, and we went down there for 2 nights after that, and more strange phenomenon happened, amazing lights. Unfortunately, some of the equipment we had back in the day isn't what we have now, but it's like it.
Right.
You really have to be there to understand what you're looking at, and we know we were seeing something that we've never seen before. We're in Hawaii. We know what stars look like, satellites look like. Everybody knows what, when you're out there. We had 5 eyewitnesses that were there with us that night. One person, Jesse Kunishigi, he was there. He brought a gun with him that night. And he was actually pointing his gun at this thing when it's descending down on us. And that was actually, might not have been the best idea.
Yeah. Yep, that's right. Don't bring a bullet gun to a ray gun fight.
Exactly.
It's a galactic war.
One of the things, though, with 23 million views and over 80,000 hits a day, and, we have over 25,000, 26,000 subscribers, and they continuously come in, and we have a lot of, friends out there. But, trolls are all about, YouTube, and they just come out of everywhere. And they want to just say, that's fake and gay, and, I get called a lot worse than that.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt about it. But death threats at sometimes, and we'll block the guys at death threat. We've had multiple threats. But, and I'm sure you get them yourself. The thing is, we're going to put it out there.
Had a few of them, that's for sure. The funny thing is that the biggest trolls, I gotta tell you, like the biggest trolls and biggest threats I've received are from other fucking radio hosts. They've been, my biggest trolls have been competitors. I'd have to say
proclaimed UFOologists that are experts, and they have nothing to show.
Mm-hmm.
One thing if they have, most of the thing is a comment's a comment. If it could be recreated, I sure would love to see it.
Right.
And if it's great, hey, we'll put it on Third Phase of Moon if it looks something like that. Hey, we're not going to not show it. Is the thing. There are videos that we get through Third Phase of Moon, and we make a decision: are we going to post this or not? People are going to rip us apart because they're thinking, well, Blake Cousins doesn't have a brain and he can't make up his own mind whether it's real or not. But
well, I think that you come across as a professional, to say the least, in your videos, and your production quality is good. You're doing a good job. I'm sure that it won't be long before you get some sort of someone pitching your show to the networks or at least some cable channels, and you'll probably get picked up. You're doing a good job of it. You're doing exactly what they write.
We do. We secure rights. People send us the video. We secure rights, and we negotiate deals with the Sci-Fi Channel and National Geographic and Japanese Television and the Travel Channel. They've all picked up videos that we've secured rights from footage that people have given to us. So it's beneficial for the person that shot it too. Hey, if they got a lucky catch, they should be rewarded for it if people are interested.
Sure. Well, yeah, they shouldn't be excluded from the opportunity. At least it's a catch. It's just like you said. It's like finding a golden nugget.
Or a lottery ticket, something. It's very unusual, and if you're lucky enough to get footage that people want and it's going to get on national television, hey, because these guys at national television, National Geographic and, Sci-Fi Channel, they'll try and lowball somebody or just ask for it for free if they can.
Sure.
And that's about it. So, I don't, it is America, which is great. One of the things is that the Sci-Fi Channel and a producer that produces Chasing UFOs and, Fact or Fake, Destination Truth.
Right.
We've been approached by a person from the guy that produces those shows and asked us if we're ready to do a reality TV show. So they're watching.
There you go. Yeah.
Right.
That's cool. That's
and
cool.
we see a lot of imitation of Third Phase of the Moon on national television. There is a lot of imitation, but that's, flattery in its own way.
Sure, absolutely. Flycatch over in the BTR chat room says, ask Blake why the FAA does not confirm the sightings over Los Angeles, California. You know what he's talking about over there?
Well, yeah, most definitely. The LAPD absolutely confronted the UFO. LAPD, FAA, they're all, they're in the air, they're all knowing what's going on. And, for some reason, they're not coming forward with that amazing video. We've been trying to get in touch with the helicopter pilot that was approaching. He came within, inches of what it was. And if it was like a Chinese Lancer, like most people would say, it would have blown off from the rudders of the helicopter close to it. It was something amazing. Yeah, I have no idea.
Video from other eyewitnesses.
Even that same night, other people sent us video of the exact same encounter from different angles from the city. So it definitely, something happened that night.
Oh, is this Joe's video that we're talking about here?
Oh, that's another instance. Joe Rodriguez is a private investigator that investigated Third Phase of the Moon to see if we were pulling something off. Because there's this fellow that contacted me about 6 months ago. His name is Robert Bingham. He claims he could summon UFOs at will.
I've heard these types.
I know the guy you're talking about.
Exactly. So we at Third Phase of the Moon says, well, if you could do that, well, hey, can you do it for us? And can we have our cameras on the ground and invite the public to show up as you do it? He came out public for the first time on Third Phase of the Moon. He's been studying this, he says, for over 15 years. He has over 20,000 pictures, he says. He shared a few of them with us on Skype. The thing went kind of viral, the first Skype interview we did with him. So we had summonings over in Los Angeles that he did it, invited by the public. We did it over 6 times by Third Phase of the Moon, and, over 200 people showed up at times to show and find out themselves. Joe Rodriguez showed up as a private investigator to find out if and debunk it. He was about to come out and debunk it, and now skeptics become believers. I want you to talk to Joe Rodriguez.
Here, let's pull him in here. Hey, Joe, what's going on?
Hey, man, thank you for having me on. Yeah, I'm the investigator that went over there. I had heard of this guy about 4 years ago. His name is Prophet Yahweh out of Henderson, Nevada. He claimed he could do stuff like that. Then 4 years after that, which is recently, 2 months ago, I heard about Robert Bingham, that he could call these things. So I went to the park with my cameras to videotape him and look around and just kind of observe and make sure that to catch him, to see if it was fake. And for the very first time in my life, I'm 40 something. For the first time in my life, I saw these things in pure daylight, 1 p.m., very bright, and I am shocked. I go to IHOP now and I scream out, "I've seen UFOs!" I'm not allowed to go back anymore, but that's another story. It changed my life.
Let me tell you this. Hey, Joe. Hey, good talking to you again. What I wanted to say about Joe is that he provided me some amazing footage at another summoning by Robert Bingham, where police officers showed up on scene. LAPD showed up, and they themselves could not identify what they were looking at. It was unbelievable footage. The footage of the UFO was not the greatest, but just to capture, LAPD not being able to identify what they're looking at, hey, it's a UFO, right, Joe?
Yeah, they thought it was a satellite. And then later on, the officer said, is it a planet? And it was 1 p.m. asking me if it was a planet.
Well,
Okay, are we talking about the over on your site from about a month ago, the UFO sightings, LAPD police witness, UFOs over LA? That's the one?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
well, the police are trained to ask that specific question because in the past it's happened where Venus, when it's really low in the sky, has caused some problems. There's even been an incident where it was right on line with a railroad track, and there was a engineer who was running a train, and Venus was low on the horizon, and it was during dusk, and it seemed like another train was on the oncoming track. So the police are well trained in knowing that sometimes celestial phenomenon could be mistaken for something much, much closer. But during the day like that, out in LA,
You know, Robert Bingham hasn't just done it once; he's done it over 5 times. He's been covered by the news around the world, and there's a lot of great footage. Besides,
That's right. May I say something about that? Can I say
go
something?
ahead.
People, when I start talking to people about UFOs now, because that's all I do now, they ask me, really, UFOs? Come on. Then I say, no, it gets worse. There's a guy that calls them down.
yeah.
It's true. Unbelievable.
Well, let's take a look at your the video we're talking about here. This is, let's see, UFO sightings, LAPD police witness UFOs over LA caught on tape, June 25th, 2012.
Shot by Joe Rodriguez.
Oh, wait a minute. My Explorer stopped working. Hold on a second here.
It's playing. The video's playing.
Yeah, it's not playing on my end. I need it to play on my end so we get the audio. Okay, so you guys are seeing that now. Hold on a second.
Oh, you just dropped off too.
Yeah, I'm refreshing. Okay, well, we'll vamp for a minute or two here, and I'll be right back with that and get it up.
So what, if you're a private investigator, sir, what has happened, you know, when you move forward, you know, you've got one mode of your job, and then all of a sudden something like this comes into your life, and you go in a completely different direction. I mean, how has this affected you personally in your, you know, personal life, professional life?
This is what happens. I still do my investigative work and everything, but I'm also a magician. So I invent magic illusions. So instead of spending time putting illusions together as a hobby, and I sell them and everything, now I spend my time in checking out these UFOs websites constantly and reading up on them and all this stuff. My personal opinion is that it's a sign of the times something's happening in a biblical type of way.
You're not the only one. Okay, so you're not the only one that has brought that to light too. In fact, that's kind of how I got into doing this. Was when I was young, I was fascinated with ventriloquism, which led when you go into that section of the library, I ended up running across other books, like books on religion, magic tricks, things like that, and I became a pretty proficient, sleight of hand magician myself. Right. And then you go from there, and then you start moving into areas that are considered nonfiction, and you start breaking out these UFO books, and you're like, well, and then all of a sudden it just kind of snowballs from there, and then all of a sudden you end up doing things like we do now, and hey, some people are accepting, some people are like, you need to see a therapist. Exactly. And you're like, but no, I saw something. I have trained observation skills. I do this for a living, and this is what I've seen, and I'm not biased. I went there to debunk it, and I walked away differently.
Exactly. And now before when people used to talk to me about UFOs, when people used to come up to me and talk to me about UFOs, I used to laugh at them, and I used to say, you know what, I don't have time for that crap. Now I'm the guy telling people about UFOs.
The thing is, the power of third phase of the moon is changing people's minds around the world. Most of the people that we speak to never cared less about UFOs until they captured something, and they just want to share it, and things are changing.
Exactly.
That's usually how it happens. People don't usually change their worldview or their mindset without having a a groundbreaking or belief-shattering experience. Maybe things like this might be what it takes for some people to kind of put some of their first world problems by the side and, really take a look at the world in a different view. Hopefully for the better is what I would hope.
Absolutely. Absolutely. In other words, we're not in Kansas anymore.
That's a good point. That's for sure. We're not in Kansas anymore. Now, if you click your heels 3 times together, you can still go blind to it and put your head back in the sand. But there are quite a few people that have abductee stories and contact stories as long as eyewitnesses. Do you get much? You get much of that in there, Blake?
Well, we do get alien footage that's quite amazing and fantastic and sensationalistic, and like I said, we're just going to put it out there. And then there are people that want to talk about alien abductions and what have happened to them. But at Third Phase, we got to always have some kind of like photographic evidence,
right?
Or we can't share a dialogue story about
testimony.
What happened. It's really hard to do. Radio is one thing. YouTube is more of a visual statement. There's one fellow that we did put up. His name is Robert Meerland, and he claims he comes from the galaxy Andromeda. Anyway, when he said that in the beginning, it sounded pretty far out. I'm like, wow, what kind of angle am I going to put this on Third Phase of Moon? But then all of a sudden, he got really scientific. He got really into detail. He sounded like he was coming, like he would say it like it happened to him yesterday. It didn't sound rehearsed by any means as he spoke. So then I decided to, let's ask him some questions and do a little research. Turns out the guy's renowned in Russia from Russian scientists about his theories, and he claims he could build starbeam ships. And he actually took an incredible photograph of a beam ship and claims that it takes star crystals to power these things up. He shared diagrams with me, and it's amazing. We don't know what might happen at Third Phase of Moon of possible information that's going to come our way with so many people watching it, with people sharing things and ideas. People are talking about free energy devices, food replicators, just with nanotechnology and how they could build it. And who knows, maybe Third Phase of Moon might expose the best invention out there, because we're looking at just anything.
Have you ever been attacked or had any strange anomalies of stuff disappearing or equipment failure or hard drive wipeouts or anything like that?
Well, as far as the hacking job you're referring to? Anything
mysterious that would have destroyed a credible piece of footage that you had, or quieted you in one way or another. Any of that type of strange covert type stuff.
We have friends in the FBI that are friends of ours, and it's through classmates and relatives, and it's America right now. And what I'm happy about is freedom of speech, and so far there hasn't been any suppression that we've seen as far as anything coming in yet. And that's, to me, I think is exciting. One thing I want to say is that with Robert Bingham, the man who summons UFOs, he was hesitant about coming out public about what he wanted to come out in a right way. Because you claim you could summon UFOs, nobody's going to take you seriously, obviously, just by claiming that bold statement. But when we put it out on Third Phase, he got over 150,000 hits in a week or so. And then all of a sudden, now he exploded up, and now the whole world knows who this guy is and what he claims to be, which is interesting. Through numbers, you can't suppress a story. That's what I like. If you could get it out and get the masses to see it quickly, then you're safe.
We have shut down things people have requested.
How do you mean?
Just people have given us footage and then they'll request, shut that down, and we've done that in the past.
People have given us footage that people said shut down the footage, and we had to oblige by their original footage, and they had second thought, so we took it down. And there are sometimes suppressed footage that for their own protection, it's their footage, so if we don't get permission, we can share it.
I got tailed one time. I was on the air and I was in my vehicle, and I got tailed, and it was clear that I was being tailed, and it was strange. This was about a year ago, actually. You remember that, August? Were you with us that night?
Yeah, I was on the phone with you at the same time.
Yeah, that was a trip, man. I don't know any other way to describe it, but it was clear that I was being tailed, and I had to elude them via my four-wheel drive. And believe it or not, of all the vehicles, it was an old school Volkswagen Bug that was tailing me.
That's weird.
It is weird. It was spooky though. I mean, there was no. I mean, it's kind of a long story, but there was no doubt about it that I was being followed, and I don't know. It could have been somebody that was just road raging on me or whatever. But I had a very strange individual that had just called in. It was a strange incident. Now,
May I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
A lot of people think that they're being followed by the government when other people get involved with UFOs and what have you. But my opinion is this, is that scientists cannot tell us what these things are. They come up with excuses, bump gas or whatever. It's because scientists usually measure things and they weigh things and they see things, they observe things. These things are spiritual of nature. They're spiritual. In other words, they do not know what the fuck they are. They don't know what they are. And they don't want to come out and say, hey, we just don't know what it is. They don't want to say it. The reason I say this is because Robert Bingham calls them down. We're talking about spiritual creatures. We're not talking about government involvement at all. This is something having to do with Satan, I think, in my opinion.
Well, you'd have to imagine that there's a variety in a relatively infinite universe. That there would have to be good ones, bad ones,
right.
brick and mortar ones, spiritual ones, multidimensional ones, and of course, satanic ones. I hear Dave in the other room saying, "Oh, whoa, Dave, you're muted. No wonder we haven't heard anything from you all night long." Sorry about that, Dave. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I haven't said anything.
Okay, I wondered. I noticed you in the queue there. Everyone is Psycho Dave's with us. You too, Erica. You sure been quiet. What's going on with you over there?
I'm just listening, but yeah, I'm enjoying it.
Okay, cool. Do you have any questions for Blake? Well, wait, before you do, hold on a second. I was going to say, Blake, you're the voice and face of Third Phase of Moon, but I'm hearing like a sidekick in the background. Who's that?
Well,
His brother.
Explained that I did a miracle and created a clone of myself. My brother is pretty much the man behind the camera. He's been awarded last I think it was 2010 Top 120 Guggenheim Award artist for YouTube at one point for a film that we passed. So that, we've been doing video production for many years, and back to what you're saying about being followed around. We've been in photojournalism for 15 years prior, and we studied and went after a lot of major exclusives, and sometimes it dealt with some of the biggest high-profile people on the planet. And
very cool.
We were followed around, and at one point, we dealt with this fellow named Anthony the Pelicano once, and he's a heavy-duty hitter, and we know about information being suppressed, because information gets suppressed all the time. They'll fly money at you to shut it down, and it gets shut down all the time because money talks, and people take the money to shut it down. And Anthony Pelicano is one of those guys that suppressed stories. He was a mastermind in it. He helped in the suppression of the Michael Jackson case back in the day when he was up for charges and paid the kid off $15 million. He was the middleman. So we were followed at points by Secret Service. We imagine at points, and a few other situations. They know who Blake and Brent Cousins are. We're public. We're not hiding. We just want to get the information out, and we're just going to keep doing what we're doing. And I think it's all, under what we got right now is a great thing. It's called freedom of speech and freedom of the press. And that's what we're going to continue on doing until they change that law. That's what we're going to do from here on out, and nothing's going to stop it until they change it. Politics, the way it's going right now, they're trying to make clauses to go after journalists now and reveal their sources, and this is totally against what the whole Constitution is based on. This is what keeps everybody in order. Check.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and journalism's fun too. I mean, it's definitely entertaining and exhilarating to get into. What kind of journalism were you doing besides other than the ufology?
Well, we dealt with just anything that dealt with high profile, from politics to celebrity to sensationalistic. We broke all kinds of exclusives. Whitney Houston, when she was down here in Hawaii and she got busted for a marijuana bust, were the first pictures out of Hawaii to get pictures of her and Bobby Brown in a parking lot up on drugs.
Oh my! Was she crying like a dolphin?
Actually, she was singing, going crazy, singing "Say My Name, Say My Name," trying to. And it looked like Bobby was about to, do a quick, give her a right hand. It looked it was pretty, front covers, mass exclusive. One of the ways that we're able to get Third Phase of Moon launched was because of that experience and the connections we made around the world with journalists and magazines and news outlets to feed out the information quickly. Because over the 15 years of doing it, we made personal friends with head editors of every single magazine on the planet. And that's how, once you have a name and you put out something and they know who you are, they trust you, that you've been in the business a long time, then, things move fast that way.
My dolphin joke was a Mariah Carey reference. I just now catching on that you were talking about Whitney Houston.
Oh, yeah. Well, I've heard about dolphins and some mean things about dolphins from the Pelicano about talking about celebrity. But I'm not going to break these right here because we'll save that for later on.
Yeah. So what's next for Third Phase of Moon?
Well, doing what we're doing right now is keeps us, occupied. Right now we're preparing to travel around the world and doing it. It's a business and an opportunity to meet people and share information. And it's just kind of the tip of the iceberg, I really think. The world, the planet is huge. 23 million views and 25,000 subscribers. It's great, but it's still nothing like certain other aspects of media and information getting out there. It's still a small thing, and it needs to get bigger, and people are understanding every day if they want to get their footage seen, it's a good place to premiere it.
For sure.
I think that's a good idea too, and what you mentioned earlier about being able to get the information out quickly and at such a broad level that it really can't be suppressed after it's out like that is an outstanding strategy.
Exactly. So many ideas get suppressed. People are scared, or, people might have the best footage out there and it still won't be seen. YouTube is a hard place to get any. You could have the best footage out there. I've put out sample videos to other YouTube accounts to see what kind of hits it would get, and they just go nowhere. And they're great videos. We'll then put it back on Third Phase of Moon, and boom, there it goes. And it took a while to get out there. And that's kind of the way YouTube works with its algorithms and putting it in its place. And there are certain viral videos that kick off, which are interesting, but those are again, lottery tickets.
Well,
we're talking to Blake and Brent Cousins here from Third Phase of Moon. If you want to call the show, of course, you can Skype in or call 714-816-4778, and the lines are open. We've still got Joe on the line with us, too. And in the chat room, I've got a question from Flycatch again. Ask Blake if he knows anything about Dugway Proving Grounds in Utah. The rumor goes that the saucers in S4 and Area 51 were moved there for increased security. What are you laughing at, Dave?
Oh, nothing.
Come on, share, or is it crude? Are you making Whitney Houston jokes again?
No. That was something else I posted. This is about Mariah Carey.
Oh, okay. Save it for later. All right. So, Dave, you're sick.
It's pretty.
Yeah, I'm sure it is funny. Yeah. And that's a lot of dead
Area
air.
51 relocated into the Utah region?
Yeah, the Dugway Proving Grounds.
You know, I haven't heard anything about that. You know, there was one interview I just did recently with a 12-year-old boy. His name was Johnny Zakolski out of Sweden or Norway. And Australia, excuse me. And he claimed that he could speak to interdimensional beings from Hollow Earth. And he learned this from a guy named Billy Woodard from Hollow Earth. I don't know if you've heard of Billy, but he claims he's from Hollow Earth. And he worked at Area 51 for 17 years. And
there is a large group of people that believe in a Hollow Earth theory.
Yeah, when the 12-year-old boy told me about this, just about 2 weeks ago, I've never heard of Hollow Earth. But I got to talking with a friend of mine just right here in Hawaii. He's a spiritual leader, talking about this guy Billy and this kid about this device that speaks to interdimensional beings, and he so happened to have a picture of Billy, and Billy doesn't exist anymore. I don't know if he went back to Hollow Earth yet. It's interesting.
Yeah, they believe things ranging from there just being like caves and subterranean beings to full on mountain skies and weather inverted into a giant hollow Earth.
Well, scientists have their theory, but we're not in Hollow Earth, so we don't exactly know what it looks like, and they really can't prove it one way or the other. To me, it's interesting that this kid, Johnny, he's a 12-year-old boy, very intellectual. He talks about interdimensional beings and meditating, and this copper device that he claims he can speak with them through devices. I thought it's just kind of neat that a kid that age would actually be kind of enlightened like that, and
sure.
Instead of talking about Xbox and all day long, and kids nowadays are being articulate like certain kids nowadays.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
It goes back a long way up until the point of the United States federal government paying for expeditions into Antarctica in order to attempt to find where they thought an entrance to the Hollow Earth was. There's a system of belief that the Aurora Borealis and some of these other phenomenons at the poles were indicative of possible radiation from a inner sun coming from part of the Earth. So this is no new idea. It's been around. It's been around for the better part of 150 years or so. Was also largely propagated by something called the Theosophical Society. But even up until today, like you said, when we want to talk about Area 51, we want to talk about some of the underground bases, things like that. I knew a gentleman that worked at Area 51 and said that the levels underground went so far down that he didn't even know how far they went down.
John Woodard was saying it went down at least 2 miles down.
Yeah. That's what this man was talking about. He said it was...
But why not? It totally is what is reality. The government's going to do that. They're building underground bunkers. Why wouldn't they? And why wouldn't they build the best machines and keep it secret? They don't want to tell everybody what they know. If you were in power, you would keep it a secret too. And that's just the way it goes.
And this guy, he was an American Indian geologist who was pulled straight off of the reservation and driven only a few miles to the base because he had grown up there. And his job was to basically make sure that some of the scientists there, and record what they were experimenting on. And apparently he said there was so many floors, so many people doing so many different things, it was almost, you couldn't keep up with it. Mm-hmm. And a lot of strange phenomenon going on down there. So, and he said, it could conceivably go under the earth. And I think another thing that he was pointing out was another one of those bases down there. And it'll pop in my mind a little bit after I shut up, of course.
Hey, let me say this that's quite interesting. That with Google and YouTube, you're able to.
Did we lose him?
It's possible.
I had to hear it. I thought I lost the show, but...
Oh, yeah, he was dropped. Here, let me see here. I wonder if his phone died.
The name of that base.
Cordless. Let me see here. We'll give him a minute to call back in. Otherwise, I'll call him back from the switchboard. Let's see what it's doing. Give us a...
Hey, while we have a little bit of space here, I just wanted to say it's kind of weird that you guys were talking about that Robert Bingham.
Yeah.
Well, somebody named Robert Bingham just tried to add me, which I said yes, on Facebook, and but he has no photo, and I'm not sure. The whole thing didn't make sense. And this guy said he's from Iowa. Now, do you know where this guy's supposed to be from?
Well, Blake's back with us here. Maybe he can answer. Ask your question
when we
again,
get talking
Erica.
about people maybe disrupting communications, it just went down. Go ahead.
I figured the battery died on cordless or something.
Hi, this is Erica Gedge. You guys are talking about Robert Bingham, and I've never heard of the guy, and then all of a sudden today, earlier on Facebook, I got a friend request from a guy named Robert Bingham, and there was no photo and no information, but he added 30 friends that were in the UFO community online. So I'm assuming he was interested in that, but anyways, it said that he was from Iowa. Do you know where Robert might be from?
Okay, well, Robert Bingham is from Los Angeles, Pasadena, so it might be a different...
Okay, well then perhaps it's just a different person, It's just kind of a mystery is all. I was just wondering. And then you guys start talking about...
Tom Bingham, that's on Facebook, I have no idea. But, yeah, Robert Bingham's from Pasadena, California. We're actually inviting him possibly to come down to Hawaii to do a full-length documentary and summon UFOs right for us here in Hawaii, which is pretty exciting.
That would be pretty cool. I know that there's a guy up here in the Northwest. He's been on the show, actually, James Gilliland, who has a ranch that I think they do a similar thing to that, where they summon UFOs.
Yeah, I've seen something like that. The thing is that Robert Bingham is a one-man guy. He's done it on his own. He's doing something that nobody's ever done, that I've ever seen. There's this prophet Yahweh that's been in hiding for many years, and he came out with one video. This guy's done it 6 times, and he's like, to me, I call him like a paparazzi UFO guy, because he's continuously getting UFO pictures. And this guy, he's not doing any kind of fakery whatsoever. He's getting real objects. He couldn't pull off hoaxes or anything what he's pulling off, just being a one type of guy. Let me tell you this, though, which is interesting before I got cut off with we look at YouTube and they give analytical data, obviously, and Google of where your views are coming from different regions from around And, some of the videos that we're posting, the drones again, these drones, a lot of these videos are coming in, drone videos, they look military, they look human, man-made, not so much, extraterrestrial, almost World War II-like. But anyway, some of the most regions that light up, the biggest country at points is Iran.
And I've seen videos from the Middle East and over some of the synagogues down there and some of the places, the Muslim temples where they seem to be highly prominent. And it seems to always be where there's a large-scale amount of war, where there's, amassing of armed forces. These UFO sightings seem to increase. And this has gone back into the Middle Ages, so that wouldn't surprise me one bit.
Those son of a bitches.
Well, see, here's what it is. The gentleman he's talking about, they can summon UFOs, so on and so forth. He talks about it, and correct me if I'm wrong, from a purely spiritual standpoint.
Well, he came off the angle that he wanted to talk about Jesus Christ and the angels.
Okay.
Yeah.
And, we at Third Phase, he has his own views and everything, and that's great. But we didn't want to come across it on the angle of religion. So we told him to, kind of tone that part down.
Right.
But you're exactly right. He calls them angels, and they're, benevolent. It's just, angels is what he calls them. He
Well, you got
calls them.
the people
something about that?
yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Okay, this is interesting to me. The very first time that I saw these things was about a month and a half ago or so when he did his third sighting. Was the very first time I saw these things. That's when I was investigating him. We saw some UFOs there, and there was a lady. I think that's his girlfriend. I'm not sure. But she came out in the video yelling at these things, saying, "Help us, show us the way, teach us the way. We need you, help us." And I'm thinking, lady, this is not Jesus. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Right. You don't know what you're
now,
doing.
These angel/UFOs that are being summoned, are these like twinkling lights? Are they energy type UFOs, or are we talking about metallic crap?
Amazing variety. I'll get you a link right here to look at it. But yeah, you know, all different types of sightings.
Okay, but here's something. I was there personally, and I saw these things. This is the amazing thing.
What'd you see?
It was pure daylight, the sun shining as bright as it can be, and you got these specks of light. It's even difficult to tell how big they are because it's difficult to gauge the distance because all you can see is clouds or the blue sky and a bright light. Now, how can a bright light be in the sky and you have the sun right next to it? Incredible. But no, it was not the old-fashioned saucer, nothing like that. Just the Bible says, Satan transforms himself into a bright light. An angel of light.
The name Lucifer means light bringer.
Exactly. Perfect.
Okay, Dave, you can do one. I'm
not going either way on the viewpoint because what we try to do here also is we try to be as unbiased as possible. We don't try to take on any belief system one way or the other. I'm talking for myself. So that being what that is, I think that's a good idea also because there's some people out there that there's no shortage of atheists in the world. Denominations also. If you go into Hinduism, they talk about lights and Vedas going back. They claim tens of thousands of years.
Right.
So this may just be the current iteration of what this gentleman has been able to tap into them with. Now, whether or not that's a benevolent force or malevolent, we're not sure.
Well,
I would be suspicious though.
From our perspective, I would imagine that there are many, many, many life forms in just in our galaxy alone that Earthlings would very much so consider to be gods, angels, and demons.
Well, we have a president coming up, maybe, and he might be a Mormon. If he gets elected, Mormons believe in all that stuff completely.
Yeah.
Imagine this. Imagine if they make contact during his presidency, after he's been president for a while, and he's the leader of the free world, and then he starts getting this energy going because the UFOs, aliens tell him that he needs to do this in order to make it a better world for peace and security. And all those people like me that have a negative energy, quote unquote, will be persecuted or destroyed or whatever. Who knows? It can happen. It's in the Bible.
It's happened before. People being dragged.
He has some of that magic underwear too.
Well, the Bible is a great story that's made, and it has to do with 100% faith, because science and the Bible, they try and prove it whether this really did exist. Well, one thing with UFOs is that evidence is happening over and over and over again. You don't have to have faith. You just got to look with your eyes and things are happening.
All right, Blake, I just got that video that you sent me here. Let me see here. The one from Friday the 13th?
That's the one, Friday the 13th. Robert Bingham captured an amazing object. It's one of the best videos that Robert managed to capture.
All right, let's take a look.
Welcome back to Third Phase of Moon. My name's Blake Cousins. In this week's episode, we're going to take a look at some more footage that Mr. Robert Bingham has sent us at Third Phase of Moon. Robert Bingham, for the past 6 months, has supplied Third Phase of Moon exclusive footage. We've slowed this footage down and zoomed it in 500% along with some stabilization. Now let's take a look at this video right now.
Okay.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Almost looks
August,
like an
describe
angel
what
with
we're seeing.
wings, which is interesting. If you look at it again here, it's crazy.
August, describe what we're seeing for the listeners.
Okay, it's almost something with wings. It's circular and it has, I would say 4 or 5 wings. Parts that are coming off the main body, and it's rotating. So, you know what? That almost sounds like something out of Ezekiel. I can't believe I just said that. But no, it looks like a large glowing circular object in the center with rotating. I can only describe them as very close-ranging satellites of glowing objects going around it, moving it what appears to be at will, up, down in three-dimensional space. It's broad daylight, very bright reddish yellow hue. People have got to go and take a look at this video over at Third Phase of Moon's YouTube channel. I think you can pick that up over there. And this was on Friday the 13th. And it is incredible. It's titled UFO Sightings, Incredibly Bright and Unusual UFO Craft Fly Over L.A. Friday the 13th. And it is exceedingly bright.
Oh, that last bit of footage, it looked like a Mylar balloon floating away.
Check the link below. If you catch anything amazing in regards to UFOs like Robert Bingham, send it to us at Third Phase of Moon via Skype. Now I'm off to the Philippines in an investigation to research an attack on an 80-year-old man in the Philippines. My name's Blake Cousins, and we'll see you again next time.
Oh man, Blake, I absolutely love your drama, dude. I've talked about it many times on the show. The way your intensity in the videos and the way that you engage the audience is awesome.
Hey, well, I appreciate that. That comes means a lot from coming from you, and people have to have a face or some kind of feeling that they could trust a person or it's in good hands, besides just a corporation. That's why Third Phase of Moon, they've kind of decided, okay, let's put me in front of the camera. Because for the first 2 years, we didn't take any comments. We just put the video out with no nothing.
Well,
and,
putting a face and a name and a voice to it definitely gives it personality, and let's face it, that's what fans want. So that's good props to you guys. I'm glad you're doing this stuff. It's good stuff, and the multiple camera angles, your on location shots for your dialogue and your monologues is good stuff, man. I was attracted to it from the very first time I saw it on here, along with the fact that you seem to use a lot of discretion with the videos that you promote and that you discuss and write dialogue for. It's good stuff, man.
You know what? My brother's been a filmmaker. We've been making films since we're like 12 years old, starting out with Super 8 and going on to VHS and Super VHS and then Mini DV and all the way up. And my brother's always itching to film something. And, it's kind of, it gets him to get that itch out so he could film. And then we got the videos on with it. It feels good to make a product, have great footage, and put it out there. And once you do that, you're always wanting to do the next one. And when's
Sure.
the next one coming in? And what the greatest thing about it is that we've always loved as filmmakers is once you get it once, it lasts forever, and it never dies. And the capture of light is a miracle of technology that we love.
And not to mention the fact that the technology to record and store video is much easier to get now than it used to be, both in price and in quantity and quality.
Well, just with the advent of Skype and everybody having mobile phones capturing these objects, and then we're able to do these Skype interviews, record them, put them in a production, and these split screens, and to do it for, nothing is absolutely amazing. Something like this, 10 years ago, would have cost us $100,000.
Yeah.
For sure.
And it just keeps getting fast, higher quality, and it's a good place to go. It's a beautiful world at the moment when everybody can speak all at once. What do you guys think about Olympic UFO sighting? Have you guys seen that new footage?
I have not. No, I haven't. Obviously, this is something new. Do you have a video up for that?
Well, we're trying to work out if anybody got it off the ground. The only footage that came through was through NBC, and NBC bought rights to the Olympics for $4 billion. So they're not really giving anything up for free. Either you get it on NBC, you can't get it on the internet. People have, but it's been on the Huffington Post. It's made its rounds. It's an interesting massive flying saucer that flew over as the fireworks were going on. So we'll see what people have to say. Some people say it was a blimp, a Goodyear blimp up there, but I don't think Goodyear is in the UK. It's putting up a Goodyear blimp. I'm not exactly sure. One thing with the journalism and just knowing on how it works, if you read between the lines and how they say things, you could kind of figure out whether they're tripping up themselves, and we'll see on how they play it out. I'm not exactly sure what it was, but it was a neat footage. We're trying to get people on the ground if they captured anything, obviously. We'll get that interview, we hope.
Flying saucer or blimp over London Olympics 2012 during the fireworks. Here we go. All right, let's see. Let's see what we got here. I got it.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, yeah.
Let me see if I can bring this up here real quick.
There's some amazing footage that we just received from Tim Ross. He's out of New Zealand. After the Olympics when he showed that. But I'll send you the link to that one as well here coming up.
All right, let's check this out. This is the it looks like a inverted version of the Olympic UFO.
Yeah, they put a negative on it, so it really let's see.
Yeah, wow, cool.
What's interesting about that footage is that nobody could claim outright that was a blimp in the air, and if there was a blimp, then why is there any footage from the angle coming from that blimp with the fireworks? There's no video feed.
Wow, that's
cool. What is the reason for the blimp being up there if it's not filming? And if it was filming, let's see some aerial shots of the fireworks as it's happening to prove that it was up there in the air. So they got 100,000 cameras on the location. You think it's covered? You guys still there?
Yeah. We're just. I turned the volume down on the video because it's just the fireworks going off, but they're showing the actual footage now. Yeah, it's interesting stuff. Okay, what do you got here? Did you just drop another link in?
That's the other link to the footage that comes from Tim Ross out of New Zealand. He's given us some, great daytime footage, massive drones. This one looks like I call it a militarized drone. But then some people say if it's a drone made by the military, things don't fly like this. So it must be some kind of UFO.
Hold on.
I've never seen anything quite like it.
Yeah, am I live? Can you hear me?
Yeah, August, we can hear you.
Now, there is some very, very large military blimps that they have been putting out recently, but the difference is that they are not, iridescent like that. That they are made to blend in with the sky so that they cannot be seen, and they're large. They can carry tanks and things like that, but that is not of the style and shape that I've seen of the ones that have been manufactured.
So how did the blimp theory get debunked on that Olympic footage?
Well, I've asked around. Everybody, all of a sudden, I got about 50 emails from friends saying, you got to look at the Olympic UFO footage. You got to tell us what you think it is. And I'm just trying to get footage that I could put on my YouTube, because I can't just take NBC footage and put it on my YouTube channel. I don't want to get flagged, get my channel shut down. So we're just waiting. Unfortunately, that's just the way it goes. It's just a risk we can't take.
You know what you got to do is come up with an auxiliary channel for your questionable footage like that. Believe me, I've done it.
Yeah,
I've had additional, And then what you can always do is you can put something like that up on your a different channel and then favorite it on your main channel so that your main channel won't get flagged.
That works, but it doesn't work like if you did it right on your channel. It's still,
oh, absolutely.
It doesn't even come close, and that's the problem.
Sure.
And then it still won't be seen. It'll be seen by your buddies, but it won't get...
Project UFO. That is our affiliate.
Yeah, we have another affiliate channel called Project UFOs, but you want to take a look at this, this interesting footage, and you just take a look at it and let us know what you think about it. It's actually...
This drone footage?
Yep.
Okay, let's take a look. Let's see what we got here.
Tim Ross, New Zealand.
Feel free to narrate it as we go here.
Yeah, there's no real audio at all.
Oh, that's right. I had it turned down. All right, hold on a second.
But there's something flying really low to the water.
Here, I started over, August.
It almost looks like it's flying directly horizontally over the water at this point. Looks like it looks almost like a jet, but it doesn't have contrails. If it is a jet, it's going extremely slow.
Book the blend, book the blend.
No, it's hard to tell what it is, but it seems to be holding a very steady altitude, heading horizontally.
One thing here at Third Phase of Moon is when people send us the footage, they don't have the equipment like we do, where we could slow things down, zoom in on it.
Okay, now it's zooming. Okay, that's not a jet. It looks similar to a... What the hell is that?
It seems to be rolling.
Yeah, it's doing barrel rolls, whatever it is. It looks to be almost like
it seems to have two sections, like a front section and a back section.
It's got a front fuselage, and then it has a rear, what would be called a push-pull style prop, possibly operating on it.
Very cool.
It very well may be a type of drone technology. That is good footage. I don't know what that was, but that looked like it could be.
Just the unique part of it. By the way, I want to give Dave absolute credit for his boss to plane joke. That made me laugh out loud for sure.
Third Phase of Moon might have a opening for a correspondent with Dave, the way he explains things on the fly. He does pretty well.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I expected at least one Hail Satan out of him, because that's his favorite thing to say from the Tenacious D album. He says it every time anybody says anything religious, he always says that. Not that he says.
Josh to come forward and to do some Skype interviews with us. He says he works for some outfit in Australia that's government affiliated. He doesn't want to come out of New Zealand. He doesn't want to, come out public because he has a family. We're trying to get, him to come out and explain exactly, because he just sends me the video with really no explanation, and he's getting the best daytime sightings, of the weirdest things that I've ever seen.
That was really, really cool. What we just looked at, very, very cool. It almost looked like like some sort of ornament or something. It looked like something that would be pulled behind an airplane. Remember when you used to see those planes flying around that have like signs that they're
banner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot of those around.
Yeah.
When I see something like this, to me it hits me that it's so not streamlined like the one that I encountered. So I don't know what that means in nowadays terms, but I would almost say, just out of my own, how you said everybody has their own opinion, based on my own experience, I would say that that's definitely human-made, not extraterrestrial.
Well, when you see something that's not aerodynamic or streamlined, it looks like spacecraft as opposed to aircraft, because aircraft, of course, typically take a streamlined design. But if you're talking about certain kinds of gravity field drives and other things that UFOs have in theory used in the past, then the shape might not even be an issue.
Right, and see that's what I was mentioning before, is because when you get into aeronautics and the use of thrust, especially with man-made like planes, that's why I mentioned the push-pull mechanism. Anybody that's familiar with planes, fuselages, things of that nature, it's a dual prop, and what happens is you've got two propellers working in opposite directions on the vehicle, which cuts down on the need for a lot of aerodynamics. But what it does add is not only high maneuverability, high ability for turning, accelerating, and also it doesn't have any drop when it goes into high acceleration as far as like engine failure, stuff like that, because it's working in tandem. But I could be wrong, because I haven't had the chance to get my hands on one and break it apart and reverse engineer it in my lab.
Yeah.
But,
let's have some fun spitballing, you guys. And again, listeners, if you want to get a chance, we got about a half hour left in the program. If you want to ask Blake some questions, pick up the phone and call 714-816-4778. Of course, that's Blake Cousins from Third Phase of Moon. Let's do this. Let's talk about let's talk about the extraterrestrial UFOs. In the context of Earth being visited by extraterrestrials. And I suppose the extraterrestrials could include the hollow Earth extraterrestrials, or the intraterrestrials, or whatever we would call them. Aliens to us. What are they doing here? Why are they here? I'm sure that there's a variety of reasons. So let's start talking a little bit about it. Blake, what's your first impression of what on Earth aliens would be doing?
Well, I think the aliens, if they have visited us, probably 150,000 to 250,000 years ago. I believe in the theory that it's a possibility they landed in the Iran, the Middle East region to look for precious metals and mine the gold, mine the oil, or whatever they needed, and possibly design human beings as what we are today. If you look at it, it is a miracle that Earth has been around for 7 billion years, and all of a sudden humans came into the factor near just, out of nowhere. How did this happen? I think there possibly is interjection from other beings from other worlds that are visiting us. And, the evidence keeps coming in. Our government is obviously covering up something. And we're just hoping that, that the footage will come out and show it. And, aliens are possibly flying these things. A lot of them are drones. It's hard telling of what exactly is a mixture of both, like you're saying, reverse engineering.
Mm-hmm.
one thing that I find and I admire about you is the fact that you will go and travel to places in search, and I have to a personal vested interest in being a student of the world and a student of knowledge and wanting to get to the bottom of it and the curiosity of it and willing to go to the lengths to do that. I've seen you standing in ruins that a lot of people don't have the opportunity to go and visit themselves. Like when you start talking about what has been popularly talked and called the ancient theory.
Is August strobing in and out for everyone else?
He's back.
Yeah.
Okay.
We heard it. We heard it all. Yes.
Okay.
With Third Phase of Moon, that is one of the most greatest pleasures of doing what we do. Is to open up on a location where nobody knows where it's going to be, have an interesting background, and not be stagnant all the time. You got to get out there and talking is one thing. On YouTube, you got to show them visuals, and if you're not showing them the visual, then they're not going to watch. And with the UFOs and being on location with Third Phase of Moon and seeing the things we have and speaking with the people and their experiences, we get up every morning inspired to do, find out what's going to happen next. Who's going to contact us next? We got to go through, 200 or 300 emails every day, finding out if somebody sent us something or what their opinion is. And we try to go through every single one and make a personal contact if we can. And people respond to that, because if you don't keep up on it, then it's just people aren't going to respond the way they are. And we're trying to keep up. We may have to hire help here in the future just to keep up on it and expand. Because YouTube is one place to show one thing, but there's so many other avenues to share, just like what you guys are doing right here on the radio. And it's interesting, this whole radio concept, what you guys are doing, is a whole new aspect of getting the information out.
Well, yeah, I mean, gosh, I've probably taken, I don't know, August, what would you say? I mean, it's got to be getting close to 100 random calls with extraterrestrial testimony. Or testimony pertaining to ETs.
Here's where Strange Visitors has really helped out a lot as far as people, and especially like you said, when it comes to videotaping, some people don't want to be known as the person that was the eyewitness. Some people don't want to be known that they were, there, that now they believe. But when you can talk on the radio, a person can call through Skype or through a phone and talk about their personal experience and have a little bit of anonymity, because, some people are afraid of credibility, their credibility being wrecked. We all know that in the scientific community, there's a large amount of people that will, if you even say the word alien or little green men, that you can ruin your career for life. So some people, what this has done is allowed them to feel like they have a kind of a safe haven to talk to impartial people, and they can share their experience. And we've up into having possible alien abduction even on the show on one episode.
Oh yeah, with Adam.
Who's digging in the garage?
Yeah, is somebody washing their pots and pans? No, it's one of the things that I've noticed is that it's very common for people to have occasional conversations about extraterrestrials or spirituality or ghosts or any of that paranormal stuff. It's when it's obviously become someone's life, now, excluding journalists. Blake, this isn't segueing into talking about guys like you or myself, but when it still becomes hard for the public to digest, to completely digest somebody who obviously has made their entire public. Well, Erica, you're one of them, right? Erica, are you still with us?
Yeah, I am.
Erica, the vast majority of I'll attack you instead of Blake.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, cool.
I'm kinky like that. I don't mind it.
Well, no, I mean, I was already doing it. I just realized that you fit into the category of the person that I was talking about, rather than the person like me or Blake who's like at work, for instance. If I'll occasionally, if aliens come up, I'll talk about it. I'll give my theories. I'll philosophize about it, and I'll ask questions and whatever, and then we'll move back to talking about boobs. But in your case, it's like
Let's just say this. It's kind of interesting. I know where you're coming from. When people call us at third phase of moon, we're talking to a stranger that lives every day normally, and they have really nothing to do with UFOs. But once they contact us, it's all about UFOs, and it's a straight up symposium about what's going on and what are they. So it's kind of a neat place for people to just do, and it's just a 100% UFO channel. And once after we Skype with them, then we get to kind of loosen up and talk with them about daily life, and we get people from Jerusalem and all sorts of places, and from Kazakhstan and Peru and around the world. And now we got all these.
What I was getting at was that it wasn't the validity of what the person has to offer. It's about. I was talking in the context of how the public will digest it. Now, a produced show that is in the topic of paranormal, obviously people are tuning in to love it or hate it. But I'm talking about the contactees and the experiencers out there who have basically that's what they do. Facebook, Twitter, their whole.
Like I put my message out, is what you're saying. I put myself on the line in my message.
But you got Billy Meyer who's made a life out of his experience. You've got these case Stan Romanak's another one, where his entire public.
Stan Romanak actually called me a liar, and third phase of moon's all fake.
Yeah, that's interesting that he would say that. Considering the fact that there's a high likelihood that his video and entire experience is fake.
Well, the thing is, the difference between him and I is he has one video. We have over 100 videos of UFOs. And if he's going to say all of them are fake, then he's calling a lot of people around the world a liar, not just Blake. And to me, it's insulting.
Well, yeah. Stan Romanak kind of strikes me as a douchebag. Anyways, I watched that, was it the UFO Chasers? Is that the name of the show? The new one?
UFO...
or Chasing UFOs?
That's the difference between, again, third phase of moon and what these guys do. They're emulating. And there's so many people out there that will just claim they're a UFO expert. I'm not saying Fox is a expert or not. He did his CNN thing, and that was pretty cool. And he came out with his Project Blue Book thing. And that was a great thing, but he was trying to sell his DVD for $300.
Oh, brother.
Out. It's like, okay, well, now we know where his agenda is at.
Right.
He wants to sell a lot of DVDs. He made a friend at CNN. That's great. But there's a lot of people that will just take UFO videos, put it on their page, and just copy-paste the description, and now all of a sudden they're an expert. And then they're not talking to anybody. They're not getting their real eyewitness testimony. Go ahead with what you were saying there, Mr. Mysterious.
Oh, I don't know. I was just farting around. I was just trying to I was trying to backpedal out of not alienating Erica, actually, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, I know. Picked up on it. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Erica. The ET. I can't even say it. I'm not going to say the joke. Never mind. we've kept the show clean this long. I'm not going to spoil it in the last 20 minutes. August is laughing too, you know.
Well, let me just say I can understand where people put, they give you, Blake, their videos, and you want to do them right, and that's really honorable, and it's really
For
good.
sure.
It's professional, and like you said, it's only right. And then, because these people put their reputation in a way, whether they do it for money or just for free, and whether they're, they're accepted in the community or not. People, that's putting yourself out there in the public to where, oh my gosh, really, you can't judge anything. It's really hard, I can only give my opinion on what I feel, but, and I respect the people that put out theirs as well, because, I don't know. My sighting and my experience was in the 80s, and the technology, and so, there's so many factors, the exopolitics, you have to go into that where, if we do, as the government have, drones and planes and things, of course, there's some things we don't want to share if, somebody might get it in the wrong hands, that kind of thing. So, but it's all interesting. So I'm glad that you're putting your show out there, and you're doing it honorably, because it keeps it credible. It keeps it from being so laughed at, because a lot of people, they're starting to accept it now.
Well, and not just accept it, but want it too. There's a lot of fans of the concept of aliens and UFOs. I'm one of them, frankly.
Hey, here's a concept that I put out there as far as, just having people make up their own minds. And sometimes the government makes up their mind, and, I don't always agree with it. One of them is that with Osama bin Laden, right? This is one of my major arguments. If Osama bin Laden, they really got him, and there's photographic evidence, why don't they put it out? And if they did put it out, everybody's going to have an opinion anyway. They could have been faked or not. And then, so why not just put it out anyway and let the people decide whether it's fake or not? And just, hey, don't suppress it. That just makes it look weird, if you ask me.
I agree. I'd like to see it personally.
Sometimes, the more real it is, the more people won't believe it anyways.
Yeah, and I want to see it. I want to see it just so I can make up my own mind. I don't care. Just show it. And if they're going to say it is what it is, then okay, we'll live with that. But at least I got to see it.
Mm-hmm. His beard, flapping in the wind as it went from the hole to the surface of the water.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole thing. Everything they documented. Why not just... And there's nothing to be. They showed Uday and Kusei's, everything else up to that point. They didn't have a problem showing Gaddafi getting shot, or Saddam Hussein getting hanged. They got all that out.
Yep. It's a big old broken neck.
Yep. Oh.
Thanks, Dave.
Yeah, those were amazing times. And, things are a little bit changing. Like I said, the government's going in the way of suppressing journalism, taking away their, their rights and keeping their sources secret. And to me, that's the wrong direction. Hopefully, it doesn't go that way.
Well,
so now, Blake, your channel over on YouTube is Third Phase of Moon. Are you on Twitter and Facebook, and how else can people get a hold of you?
Pretty much, yeah. We have a Twitter account. You go to YouTube, and there's a Twitter button, and there's a Facebook button. And we're trying to get the word out, no doubt about it. Pretty much, yeah, Third Phase of Moon. And the best way to get in touch with us and share the footage is via Skype, because we want to get to know the people before we use their footage, because I want to make sure it's footage. And, if we could get testimony and a Skype interview, that would be great, too. Not everybody wants to come forward. That's fine. Skype allows you to transfer the video file over.
Sure, absolutely. And so, how do they contact you on Skype? What's your handle?
Third Phase of Moon.
Third Phase of Moon. Awesome. Good stuff.
So,
Go ahead.
Hey, thanks a lot, guys, for bringing me on the show. I'm a fan of yours now. I've been listening to you guys for the past week and a half, especially when you started talking about third phase. And I've heard some things.
You still came on, huh?
Oh, yeah. We could take it here at Third Phase of Moon.
Well,
No
we pick
doubt
on
about
everybody. I make fun of Blake because he sounds like that cop from the Wildest Chase video. Dave, what's the cop's name?
Gumbanell, former Multnomah County Sheriff.
Yep.
He's a local guy, and
Here at Third Phase of the Moon, we'd like to take this opportunity to tell that those bad aliens aren't going to be abducting anybody anymore. The only thing they're going to be abducting is a jail cell out at Area 51. Tune in next time at Third Phase of Moon.
My late brother used to call that, world's wildest police chases, the Gumbanell Action Hour.
Yeah.
Here's some wild and crazy aliens on the road to abandon.
It's that passion in Blake when he's on the. It's right. It's directed straight into the camera. It's like you're talking directly to the viewers, which is perfectly professional. It's exactly what a producer and writer would want in a host of a show.
It's trial by error. And let me tell you, my biggest help out there is the people that comment. Because they're telling me, quit moving your hands so much. Or quit moving. And, the criticism comes in, and, hey, you got to listen.
Tell us.
Can I say something about his passion?
Yeah, go ahead.
Going to the moon, landing on the moon, apparently is the biggest thing that humanity has ever done.
Mm-hmm.
What Blake is doing, others too, but Blake, what he's doing is he's not talking about something, just anything. He's talking about major stuff. We're not in Kansas anymore. He's talking about stuff that people really need to wake up to. That's why, if he was boring or whatever, people would be yawning. People are always going to complain. But he's trying to get disclosure. He wants everybody to know what's going on. 2 months ago, I would think you guys were all crazy. But I saw these things, so his sensationalism, or whatever it's called, his enthusiasm, his passion for everything. I can respect it because he's talking about something really serious.
He's a professional host, and his content is a separate separate issue from how he conducts himself in front of the camera, and that's a really cool thing. Yeah. Aside from the content, which is also very cool. By the way, August, you're back with us. So, Blake, tell us about your blooper reel. Have you ever face planted while you were walking towards the camera or anything? What's the most embarrassing thing that you've done that never made it to your channel?
If I had a blooper reel, it would be longer than any UFO video or videos all time.
What are some of your favorite self-defaming moments?
That's interesting. Well, most of the time, if you notice, in quite a bit of the videos, I'm trying to get an art to it, but it's walking with a microphone and a 20-foot cord connected to it. So I'm always having to walk in a weird, awkward way, try not to step on it.
Yeah.
See, what I noticed when you were doing that, when I watched some of your videos, it looked like you were stalking the camera coming forward, and it reminded me back in my wrestling days when a guy would come in and swoop and do a fireman's carry and slam me on the mat. So it was a bit intimidating.
It's good. You ever? Has there ever been an incident that? What would be your favorite blooper moment? Fly was undone. You face planted. You got crapped on by a bird. Other things that happened. What the?
A lot of the bloopers we just leave in, and then I'll leave it to getting all the rib that the people give me.
I gotta go back through your videos. What we should do here on Strange Visitors is do a Third Phase of Moon segment. And I'll go back to the very beginning, because what I started doing was I started playing, just UFO clips, because my personal favorite. And I got to tell you, you know how like when you're searching on YouTube, it'll give you, your little thumbnail that will usually be a frame from somewhere in the middle of the video. And so it was just that I would always go for the daytime, videos, ones that were like, 3 minutes max. And I started hitting on yours, just because they fell into the same kind of criteria that I look for. There's Dave reefing out. That's one thing. I'm relatively new to your channel, Blake. I guess I would say that I discovered it because your videos fit into the same kind of criteria that I long for in UFO footage. Probably what we say, August, about no more than about 6 months, maybe 4 to 6 months.
It's got to be daylight, clear.
No, I mean we started noticing Blake's videos. I guess about 4 or 6 months ago. It was relatively recent.
So it's been pretty recent, and I got to say, see, we've gone through a lot of footage here ourselves, and we've gotten a lot of testimony through other sources. By and large, there's been a lot of just graphical. People do their own illustrations. Some photos are fuzzy, and a lot of people have done artistic renderings. But by and large, if you go through YouTube and you can just pull videos, you don't know the sources, you don't know where it's coming from. You do a good job of documenting your sources, citing them, where it occurred, dates, things of that nature. And what it did is it stands out. It stands out, and it makes it accessible, and it's something that I think is it's something that people should aspire to. The criteria and the quality.
Wow. Again, thanks again. It's what people are saying and what everybody's saying here. It really makes it feel like what we're doing really matters. And, it is hard work, and we work every day at it, and it is a passion, and we want to get the word out. And, exactly what you're exactly saying is what we strive to be, is to be the number one most watched UFO video. If you're going to watch it, not number one most watched UFO video. If anybody wants to keep up with Third Phase of Moon, by all means, because I'd love to watch their channel, too.
Right.
That's the thing. It's just so there's nobody that even wants to even come close. Come on, let there be another face to UFOs on YouTube and do what we're doing. I'll subscribe to the channel in a heartbeat.
It's a collaborative effort that all of us, we're all seekers of knowledge, seekers of truth, and trying to find the best evidence that we can. You can spend all day putting together information and videos, and a lot of it is questionable. A lot of it's really old, but nowadays, like you said earlier, the technology is getting to the point where you can have really high quality stuff, put it together in a flash, get it out there to expose it to people, and it's going to continue to go this way. And I like you, I feel very lucky to be in this point in time while we do have the ability to have freedom of speech, the technology to support it, that we don't have to spend $1 million on a rig or $100,000 putting together a video, and try to give people some information and see what their thoughts are. I mean, I think that's really the thing. Not trying to pull anybody over to the side and impose a belief system, but put it out there, see what people think, and get their opinions on it.
Well, right now it's hey, again, you're doing a great job. But I'm glad we met you guys, and then we're in correspondence now.
Oh, hell yeah! It's just gotta have you back, Blake. Definitely gotta have you back.
We just got started. Again, tip of the iceberg, and it's all fun, and the ride's just begun. Third Phase of Moon has just made recently this past week the number one place to be as far as looking for UFO sightings, third phase of moon's coming up on top now.
Hell yeah.
That's great.
And it's not going to slow down. It just continuously feeds in. And why wouldn't it feed in? Because the information needs to get out. People they're hungry for it. The world is changing. People are getting more enlightened. People are thinking that, is this possible? They're really coming to a conclusion. And a friend of mine said that the Galactic Federation of Light has a law in regards to letting themselves be known to the people. And they say they have to get up to 70% of the people believing it's possible.
I got in a fight with them on this show.
Because they just don't want to disrupt everything. Obviously, if that's the case. It's a great analogy, and I'll go along with it. It sounds fine to me.
Were you here for that, August? Uh-oh.
August.
Somebody was channeling. Yeah, that's me. That's my name, August.
Yeah.
Don't know if my Skype's going to kick me off here, but we've had folks, channeling the Galactic Federation of Light, and
I got in a fight with them.
Well.
Oh wow.
An argument.
Well, see, this is what happens when you work through mediums and people who are channelers.
No
sometimes,
evidence.
Yeah, you don't know who you're talking to, number one. Number two, it doesn't mean we don't keep an open mind. We definitely do. But at the same time, if somebody could define an agenda, if it has to be 70% of the population before they do feel it's safe to reveal themselves, then hey, I'm all for it. Let's do the best we can, because if that's a criterion that they've put out there, let's meet it and see where it takes it. Life is a wonderful journey. Let's, like you said, let's get on the roller coaster and put our hands up and see where we go.
For sure.
Hey guys, I'm gonna get going. I'm gonna let you guys close out the show. Can I say my one signature line here, guys?
Absolutely.
If you've captured anything amazing regarding UFOs, contact Third Phase of Moon via Skype. My name's Blake Cousins, and we'll see you again next time.
That's how he closes out all of his videos, for sure. That's a good tagline. Is that your closing tagline? Oh, did he go already? You still there, Blake?
Hey, thanks a million, Blake. It's really been a pleasure.
Yeah, it has been. For sure. Okay, you guys.
It's a dramatic departure.
Yeah, totally. Thanks, Joe, for calling in. I want to thank August, as usual, for being here, Psycho Dave for being here, and Erica for calling in. I want to thank the people in BTR and people over at strangevisitors.net.
Erica, befriend me on YouTube, on Facebook.
Okay, I definitely will. Thanks.
Yeah,
I think
sure.
I am, maybe. I'm not sure. I have to check it.
Okay.
You guys can follow the show over at Twitter at Strange Visitors. You can find us on Facebook at Strange Visitors or Todd Anderson. Find us on Facebook at Strange Visitors or Todd Anderson. Got big time echoes going on. All right, you guys, gotta go. I love you all. I want to thank Blake, of course, for being on the show, and we'll see you again later this week. We'll see you again later this week.